Members of this House, we think that closing government's entire idea of deterrence and how it's hinged upon the idea of Asian cultures and people wanting faith is something that in fact works against them, because I'm going to show you precisely because of this in my substantive, you're going to distort the fairness and justice of the legal proceedings precisely because the people involved in the legal process are now going to be pressurized because their reputation is at stake, and therefore this is going to distort the fairness of the legal proceedings. Before I move on to that, my extension on how the nature of television, which is something that hasn't exactly been analyzed, is going to exacerbate the impact and the fairness of the legal proceedings, and this is therefore detrimental to the whole process. I have a few points of rebuttal to make. Firstly, on the entire idea of whether or not we should increase the number of people involved in the legal process, and secondly, what exactly is the incremental benefits we have from passing their proposal. We don't think there's any incremental benefit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, essentially what the entire government bench has been saying so far is that there's a necessity to increase the knowledge of these legal trials with regards to the public. Now, this is contrary to the entire idea of justice, we tell you, ladies and gentlemen, because as far as possible, the legal system has always been about reducing as far as possible the number of irrelevant participants in the legal process. This is extremely reasonable because we do not want people misinformed or who have no knowledge whatsoever of legal proceedings entering the process and passing their own judgment and affecting the fairness of the trial. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, we don't see, family members of the defendants becoming judges. Can you imagine the situation, ladies and gentlemen? Therefore, we don't see how this is in fact going to improve justice. We think that it is going to distort justice. And furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, we are not saying that the public will be discerning enough to know right from wrong. But what we are merely saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that it is extremely reasonable to expect the public to have a lesser amount of legal information as compared to your judges and your lawyers who have had a lot of legal training. They are just people like you and me. We therefore cannot expect these people to have that kind of knowledge with regards to the legal proceedings. And in fact, they themselves have conceded that the defendants of this case are corrupt officers. And we tell you, ladies and gentlemen, therefore, we don't see a necessity to increase the burden already placed on these defendants. We don't think it is fair to have an increased burden of these people, and to deprive them of a fair trial because they already have the very heavy burden of suspicion of the crime. And the least we can do for these people is to give them a fair trial like everybody else. We don't think these people are any significantly different from other criminals who are standing trial. Thank you, sir. Now then, we question what exactly is the incremental benefit you're going to accrue from this policy. They say that it is good for the public to know more, but ladies and gentlemen, we put forth here that the public already do know a lot. In newspaper reports, you already have information on who is on trial, what the findings are, what the evidence is, what he did. We don't therefore see there's we don't therefore think there's a necessity to televise the entire proceedings and allow the public to scrutinize every single little detail that happens in the legal proceedings. We think this is going to impact the judgment negatively, as I'm going to show you in my substantive on the nature of television. And we think it is offensive for them to even suggest that current coverage of these reports is inadequate, because we tell you there are many newspapers in the status quo that report different perspectives. And we therefore tell you there isn't a necessity for there to be more reports on this situation.
Sir?
And we question, they say that there is a necessity to improve the knowledge that the public has. We question them, we challenge them to tell us what exactly is this kind of specific information that is already being withheld in the status quo. We don't think this is going to significantly increase the kind of knowledge that the public will have with regards to the proceedings. Therefore, there is no net benefit accrued in this situation. So having dealt with the main thrust of the case, I'm now going to move on to my extension on how we take issue with the medium in which information is being disseminated. We take issue with the fact that your legal proceedings are being televised because it is a medium that allows for close scrutiny of every single little detail, every single action that occurs during legal proceedings. Would you not agree, madam?
The issue is, you directly contradicted your opening, because your opening says we don't want so much information for the public, and you're saying we have more than enough information. Actually, it's a good thing.
We think that the public does have the right to have a certain degree of information, and this information is already available. We just don't think there is a necessity to increase the amount of information, and to do so through the medium of television, which I'm going to go on to analyze. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the very nature of television carries with it a connotation of sensationalism, which is why reality TV has been so popular because you see what is going on in real life. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you televise it, what we tell you is the kind of effect the public is going to have with regards to the judges, with regards to the entire legal proceedings, is going to be magnified. Because previously there's a distance, there's a gap between the effect of public opinion with regards to the judge, because a newspaper report there's a certain delay, whereas right now it is real time, it is immediate. We think this is going to distort justice. And then let us further go on to analyze the nature of these judges we're talking about. They told us that politicians, they are well-versed, they are well-trained to deal with public opinion. We don't think that judges are necessarily, equitable to that of politicians. Because judges are people who are paid simply to make legal decisions, and they're not trained to deal with this kind of public opinion. And given the fact that in Malaysia, a majority of these judges do not necessarily have lifetime tenure, which means that they're shuffled around in the legal service, we tell you that they are going to be more susceptible to public opinion and allowing that to cloud their judgment. And this directly corresponds to closing government's point of Asian values. If reputation is on stake for these people, we tell you that at the end of the day, they are going to yield to public opinion and make judgments that are not necessarily based on fair evidence and fair judgment. And this is why their idea of deterrence works against them, because it distorts the legal system. Furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, we put forth to you that the Malaysian public, largely is different from the examples of the United States of America, which they have brought up. Because whereas in the USA, there is a culture of confrontation where people can outrightly diss the president. We don't think that Malaysia has this this culture yet. We don't think that they are well equipped to deal with the kind of confrontation, and which is why when you immediately jump the bar and increase the level of confrontation, we think there's going to be backlash. We think this is going to further distort justice, and this is why televising these trials are a very bad idea. So what have I shown you today, ladies and gentlemen? In summary, I've shown you how, firstly, introducing new actors into the legal proceedings, actors who do not have the knowledge, who do not have the skills to make fair judgment, is going to impair your legal process. Secondly, I've shown you how there's no incremental benefit on their side in increasing the information available to the public in using television as a medium. Furthermore, I've analyzed the people who are going to be affected, the judges and the public, who are not well equipped to deal with the increased amount of public pressure put upon them. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, for fair trials, for justice, go with side opposition.